Are you tired of feeling like a worn out mom who's done everything for everyone for years? In this replay episode, we are talking about replay video. We're talking about 8 tasks, 8 steps that you can take to go from being and feeling like a worn out mom and wife who's done everything for everyone for years to feeling like an empowered woman who has time for herself. So I have my notes that are pulled up to the left of me. If you see me looking over, this is why. I want to say hello to those of you that are watching this replay Instagram video. Wherever you're watching it, on whichever platform, I would like for you all to say hi and also comment throughout this your favorite tasks, your favorite steps that we go over. This is not going to be an easy Instagram live video for you to watch, okay? We're going to start with these 8 steps from easiest to hardest, in my opinion. So as we go along, they're gonna get a little bit harder and you're gonna be okay. No one's gonna die. It's gonna be okay. And it's valid how you feel. So breathe throughout this, and to go from being this consistent, worn out woman, wife, mom for years, these are 8 tasks that you can start to do to feel more empowered and to have more time for yourself. So I recommend taking notes. Grab your notebook, take these notes and write down these 8 steps, or write down the ones that really resonate for you and implement those in your life. So number 1 is that you are going to take a piece of paper, and I don't have it in my office with me right now, but you're going to take a piece of paper and you are going to write who you want to be and how you want your life to look. So on the blank sheet of paper, you're going to think about who you want to be, so the woman you want to be. So think about, okay, I'm already an empowered woman. I'm already living the life that I want. Writing how you want your life to be, who you want to be. So when you write this, you're going to write it as I am an empowered woman. I have time for myself. I am a loving wife and mom and have time for me. I have the ability to financially invest in assets. I have a wonderful, thriving Excel spreadsheet of documents that sort my money, right? I am a multimillionaire. I am above multi-trillion dollars. So you get to really think about, I travel monthly and spoil myself and my family. You get to think about the life that you want to live based on also, and thinking about who you want to be, and write it down on a piece of paper. Once you do that, front and back, I want you to look at this daily. Why it's important to look at this daily is because, and specifically in the morning, is because this is one of the times that our brain, right when we wake up, is most receptive to being reprogrammed. So what I mean is that this is one of the most awesome times that you can take in the morning to shift your beliefs, to shift your thoughts. So after you write down the sheet of paper, it looks, I don't have, again, mine in here, but similar to something like this, front and back. Once you write it down and you look at it daily, this is what helps shift your mindset to believe what you're reading, to believe what you're seeing. Because the more that you're able to expose yourself, the more that you're able to read this consistently, daily, the more that thought of whatever you wrote down becomes your new belief. So this is not just about, or saying, Mallory, I did it once. I watched your Instagram live video and it doesn't work. And I did it once and it's not working for me. This is about being consistent. This is about being consistent because you're forming a new habit. So for some of you, even through us talking, even from some of the things that I shared that you heard, you may have already had that switch in your mind of, ooh, yeah, like I want to believe that, or ooh, yeah, I do believe that about myself. So some of the thoughts that you write down or some of the thoughts that you hear might be an instant change. And some of the thoughts, based on how you're feeling throughout the day, because life happens and things get hard. So depending on how you're feeling that day and what's happening in your life, sometimes some of the beliefs are really going to resonate for you, and sometimes they might feel a little bit harder. So this is why it's important to look at these daily and say them out loud when you can. So that way you are teaching your mind that this is what I want to believe, because whether you do this or not, you're believing something. If you're not doing this, you're believing, I'm a worn out mom. I have to put everyone else's needs consistently above my own. This is how life's going to be. I'm bored. I'm ugly. I'm fat. I'm wrinkly. I'm never going to lose the weight. Me and my husband are just going to have a mediocre relationship. This is how life is. So either way, one of those two are going to be your thoughts. So you can intentionally choose what you want to be and what you want your life to look like. And watch that magic unfold. So that's the first one. Write out who you want to be, how you want your life to look, and look at it daily. Number 2, design a Pinterest board labeled life, or whichever you'd want to label it, and design your life. So instead of scrolling on Instagram or scrolling on TikTok, you can intentionally partner based on what you write on the sheet, who you want to be, how you want your life to look. You then can find different pictures on Pinterest that really align with you or that align with the sheet of paper, and pin it to that life board. So that way you can go and you can look at it, or you can, when you go and look at the board, it's all of who you want to be and all of what you want your life to look like. So for those people who are more visual and you maybe want to save paper and you don't want to make a vision board, this is a digital vision board that you can make, and it's just unlimited. You can keep pinning and pinning and pinning and pinning and keep going, which is when you take a photo, you pin something to a board, so you can just keep going. So that's number 2. Number 3 is to listen to music from your childhood or high school and enjoy it. Studies have shown that the more when you do listen to music from your childhood or high school, it helps boost serotonin and it helps increase your happiness. It helps increase basically your self-esteem and your well-being. So the more that you're able to listen to this, and they did a study with animals where there was a lower increase in cortisol levels, meaning your stress levels. So there was a decrease in the amount of stress that you were feeling, and an increase basically in the amount of happiness, of joy that you were feeling from the serotonin and dopamine. So the more that you can listen to music from your childhood or your high school, it boosts naturally. And this just, if you started your day, you don't have to do this every single day when it comes to the music, but this every single day, you're already setting your day up for success. When you think about who you want to be, you write it out, you speak it out loud, you look at that daily, and you think about intentionally, that's who I want to be, that's the life that I want to live. And then you make the Pinterest board and you look at that, and then you listen to music from your childhood. That's already setting up your morning for success based on being a woman that has more time for herself. So that's number 3. All of these are setting yourself up for success in spending more time with you and feeling more empowered. feeling more empowered. Because Myron Golden talks about, you can just leave something alone and it will naturally decrease. So it's important to actively work on these things. Okay. Number 4, and this is where it could be triggering for some of you, so where you could start to feel a little bit of activation within you as we do this, breathe throughout this, that helps you feel more at ease, okay? So for any messages that start to feel like, ooh, okay. Okay, so number 4, I want you to leave a space messy overnight, okay? For some of you, in hearing that, you might feel just a weight of release actually come up within you. For some of you, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, why cannot everything be tidy, right? If you're so used to doing laundry, cleaning, making sure that the whole house is spotless, you are the house manager and the house cleaner. So having a space be messy overnight can be an eye twitch for some of you. Now, we also want to consider that we're living with family and that there are other people, there's children, adults that live with you. So, for example, if it's going to cause this catastrophic event in the family household for you to leave the dishes undone, then don't do it in a more public space for the family. You can do this in your office. You can do this in your car, someplace that is specifically yours, and leave it messy overnight. And as you do that, I want you to love yourself. So what that means is really thinking about the 5-year-old version of you, or thinking about the 10, 25 version of you, and loving you in that, loving that it's okay to be messy, and that is a part of you. A part of you is messy. A part of you doesn't all have it together, and that gets to be okay, and that she's safe. And that's okay for you to be messy at times. It doesn't always have to be together. It doesn't always have to be clean and tidy. So practice giving yourself that love and let it be. The next few parts that we're going into is about you holding more discomfort, because it's not that you don't want to do the task, it's that you don't want to feel discomfort, or you don't want to feel disappointing, or you don't want to feel chaotic or like a disappointment, for example. So the more that you can actually just recognize that this is a feeling, this discomfort, this disappointment, this anxiety, the more that I can just recognize that, okay, this is just a feeling. And when you can love yourself of saying, okay, it's valid. It's not about bypassing it. It's valid for you to feel this. It's normal for this to be coming up for you because it's new. Think about how you would talk to 5-year-old version of you. And if that's hard to do, think about how you would talk to your child if they're wanting to try something new, if they're wanting to be a more empowered person in their life and have more time for themselves. Think about what advice you would give to your son or your daughter or your child, okay? So just practice holding the discomfort. Just practice holding the anxiety. Practice holding the disappointment, and recognize that by doing that, you can do anything. No one's gonna die. It's not all gonna burn up in flames that you didn't clean one night. You can breathe through it and practice loving yourself, practice saying what you would say to your child or to the younger version of you. Okay, so that is number 4. Number 5, we're going to amp it up a little bit. Number 5 is that you are going to practice asking for something and not apologizing. Okay? How many of you are already like, oh my gosh, that's a word for hearing that, okay? You're going to practice asking for something and not apologizing. So when you're out at a restaurant and you're sitting with your family and someone doesn't have an extra utensil, what can happen is that you can ask, oh, can we get another utensil? I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Or if someone is, you have 10,000 different things in your hand and you're trying to open the door and a man opens the door for you and you're like, oh, thank you, but I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. In these scenarios, we are going to diminish apologizing. Now, it's important I'm not going to go into that, but it's important to apologize intentionally. So meaning that when you genuinely mean it, or when you are repairing a relationship, for example, and that's who you want to be in that, I don't want to get that confused with just openly word vomiting, I'm sorry, just as a filler word for not wanting to feel the discomfort or the disappointment or the chaos or the feeling, right? So the next time that you want an extra utensil or someone opens the door for you, you're going to say thank you. You're going to say thank you. And it's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel like oh my gosh, this feeling is lasting forever. But the more you practice it, again, just like number one, where you write out who you want to be and the life you want to look at, you're reforming your beliefs, you're reforming your thoughts. These are all just habits that we're changing. These are habits that we're changing. So the more that you practice holding the discomfort and saying thank you instead, that becomes the habit that you form. Are we getting it? Are we picking up on it? So the more that you hold, the more that you practice saying something and not apologizing. So, and this is a need, right? Like you need more water. Let's say at a restaurant, you're like, oh, I'm sorry for asking for a need, or someone needs a utensil. Want, whatever. But even your wants, you don't have to apologize for that. So just asking for what you want, holding the tension, giving yourself love in that moment, holding the tension, feeling it, breathing, and just knowing the feeling's gonna pass. And then when they give you the utensils, or when they fill your water, when they open the door for you, as a gentleman should, or a man should, you say thank you. You say thank you. You just receive and you hold it. You just feel that power. And the more you do that, the less uncomfortable it eventually becomes. And it just becomes more second nature for you to do that. So that is number 5. Number 6, when it comes to the 8 steps of what takes you from going to feeling like a worn out mom who's consistently done everything for everyone for years, to feeling more empowered as a woman who has time for herself, is that you are going to dance solo in your house naked. This is such a fun activity to do. You're going to dance solo in your house naked. You're going to play your childhood or high school favorite music or sensual music that feels really good for you. And you're just going to dance and allow yourself to be free. So maybe you schedule time with your family when your family is out walking, and you take 15 minutes to start, let's say, to do it. Or let's say, you're like, Mallory, I don't know when I'm going to be able to have the whole house to myself. Practice taking time or communicating with your husband, saying, hey, babe, I'm going to do this task that Mallory encouraged for me to do. And I'm going to take 15 minutes and practice dancing in the room. And so I would just love this time. If you're open to that, I would love this time just to be with me, and then I'll come out whenever I'm ready. Are you open to that? Right? So when it comes to doing this, just allow yourself to have fun and play, and there can be judgment and kind of an awkwardness again that comes with this, but the more that you kind of practice, the more you practice doing these things, the more you can surprise yourself. And like, I was doing this the other day, but I was walking outside, not naked. I was walking outside and listening to it, and there were some people that may have been passing back and forth, and part of me felt a little uncomfortable with it, and I was like, I really don't care, because I'm having fun and I'm loving my inner child in this. And I was listening to music from my high school time that felt really good for me, and it was exciting. So a part of it is, again, all of it's about just building the habit, and sometimes it's going to feel uncomfortable and a little awkward, and that's okay, because the more you do it, the more confidence you start to build in yourself, because that becomes the new habit. Okay, that was 6. So number 7, you're going to take yourself out to dinner and get dressed up. Now, super bonus is that you don't go on your phone when doing this, or you try not to be on your phone for the whole time while doing this. So you're going to put on your favorite outfit, or an outfit that you feel really special, beautiful, however you want to feel, an outfit that just makes you feel awesome. That makes you feel awesome in the inside. You're going to put it on, and you're going to take yourself out to dinner. And if someone asks you, how many people in your party, you're not going to apologize and say, oh, I'm sorry, it's only going to be a table of 1. You're going to say, table of 1. Okay? You're going to take yourself out to dinner for some place that you'd like to try, or some place that you want to eat, and have fun. Have fun and enjoy, and just look around and observe other people, and just practice having fun in your own energy, because it makes sense this can be hard or very uncomfortable as we start to get to these ones that can be more triggering, or more like, oh my gosh, that sounds crazy for me to do, or that I would never do that. It's understandable that there can be a lot of fear that's coming up here. That's very normal. And it's about reconnecting and realizing and remembering that, maybe for the first time, recognizing that you can have fun with yourself, and that you can feel peace and joy and happiness and playfulness and silliness with yourself. And the more that you're able to fill up your cup, which is what these tasks are doing, the more that you're able to take more time for yourself, the more intentional time you have with your kids, and the more intentional time you have with your husband or your partner. Because when you take time to fill up your cup, your own cup, and then it's overflowing, that's how you're able to be a better mom. You're able to be a healthier mom, or a more intentional mom, and you're able to show your son, your daughter, your kids what it's like to love themselves, what it's like to take care of themselves. Because thinking about what is the message that you're showing your kids by not taking time for yourself, by not doing these things. And you all are very intentional women. So it's not that this is coming from a place of, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that I was possibly doing that. It's coming from a place of that these things for women are not, especially a woman who's put the needs of others consistently for years above herself, this is not something that is normal, awkward, or unnormal for people. This is not awkward, or this can be awkward or feel unnormal or unnatural for people to do, but it's just now having awareness that these are empowering things that you can do as a mom, as a wife, as a woman, to teach your children, to teach your daughter that this is powerful for her to do for herself. To teach your husband that you are deserving of time for you. And to show, so that way, like, there can be this fear that, well, I don't want to mess up my family life, or I don't want to take away from my kids, or I don't want to take away from my husband. And that's totally valid. And this is not what I'm preaching or practicing or wanting for you to do. By taking more time for yourself, this helps enhance your relationships. Now, it's going to shift and it's going to change, and that's okay. It's about holding that discomfort, holding that anxiousness, and that's, different conversations that you have throughout it. But it's being able to recognize that, yes, your life will change, and that's how you start to feel more empowered as a woman. That's how you're able to start to feel more energetic and not constantly giving. So that way, when you do spend time with your kids, and you do spend time with your husband, and you do spend time with your mom and dad and family and all the different things, you feel more alive. And that just creates for, think about relationships that you have now. The ones that feel really good are the people that feel really good to be around. And there's not as much snapping, and there's not as much passive aggressiveness or little snarky comments or eye rolls. There's intentionality of, I want to be here versus I have to be here. There's a difference. Okay. So the last one, number 8, that we're going to go over is practice being vulnerable with one person. Practice being vulnerable with one person. Now, for some of you, this can be your husband, because it's very normalized in society to lie or to not say things, let's say that, to lie to your partner or to lie to your husband. So this is about being vulnerable with at least one person, so let's say your husband, and voicing how you feel. So let's say, for example, you have this, I want to think of an example. Let's say, for example, you've been having this feeling of, in the morning, you really want to take time to yourself, and your husband is, let's say an early riser, and he wants to make breakfast for anyone and just kind of go. And he's like, all right, babe, I would really love for you to help out and all the different things. And you're like, I'm just really craving this intentional morning time to me. And then I'm able to have us all eat together as a family. So the way that you practice being vulnerable is to not point the finger and say, you make me feel this way because you want us to do this in the mornings, and it's not that. When you're practicing being vulnerable with someone and it's deeper, you first want to ask them if they are emotionally available. So asking them in whatever language whatever communication feels more like you. Asking them, saying, hey, babe or husband, I would love to share something a little bit deeper with you. Do you have time? Do you have some time right now for us to talk, or for us to chat? And it's okay if he says no. And it doesn't have to be right then and there. And as someone who communicates in a healthy way, it's empowering for him to say, for example, no, however, I really want to support you, so how does 30 minutes work, let's say? And let's say, your husband just says, no, I don't really have time for that right now. You can say as a follow-up, okay, I hear you, and this is very important to me. How does 30 minutes how does 30 minutes from now work for you? Okay, so you can say something like that. So when you're in the conversation, you can then use I statements. Okay, so using I statements is really powerful. So you're not going to, how you would say it or how I would say it, for example, in a nutshell, is, and being something along the lines of this. I thank you for the intentionality of wanting to connect our family together. And I really value that as a person and having family time together. Something I've noticed within myself is that it feels really powerful and supportive for me to take time in the morning to myself. And so over the next few weeks and even lifetime, I would love to have the mornings for me. And then as you're cooking dinner and the kids are getting ready, or as you're cooking breakfast and the kids are getting ready, we can all collaborate. We can all eat breakfast together. How does that feel for you? You can say, I would feel very loved and supported in this way, because a man especially, people in general are not mind readers. So it's very childish for us to think that someone is going to know exactly how we feel. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, and it's very important for us to communicate how we feel, especially with your husband or your partner, so that way they know how you feel. And a man's natural instinct is to want to protect and provide. So when you present something that's more vulnerable, when you present more of how you feel, they want to protect that. They want to protect you feeling powerful. They want to protect you feeling peaceful. So when you actually are more open with him in sharing that feeling and sharing that you would feel more powerful and peaceful and taking that time, and then providing, the option where you can then meet up together, for example, or maybe even not, let's just say that, then there's more of an inclination in him to want to provide and support. And I've seen this happen with different men in general in my life. So let's say, for example, and there's so many different hypotheticals, but one could be, babe, he responds, babe, I really support you in this. That's awesome. That feels great. Like, thank you for sharing this with me. And I really want to uphold that. For some of you, you might be thinking, my husband would not talk to me like that. He might say, thank you so much for sharing this with me. And, we both have busy schedules in the morning. What if we take half of the time I cook breakfast, the other half of the time you cook breakfast, and then we still eat breakfast together as a family? So then it's also a willingness and an acceptance of being able to collaborate with someone and not just totally disregarding your needs, but maybe in the beginning sometimes then on the days that you cook breakfast, you might wake up a little bit earlier to make sure that you are still getting in your morning routine that you want. You're still filling in your cup. So that's an example. I mean, there's so many different nuances and things that I could go into that with. And I hope these 8 steps were helpful for you, from feeling consistently like a worn out mom who's done everything for everyone for years, and to feel more empowered as a woman, to take more time for yourself. These are 8 steps that you can take to feel more powerful, to feel more alive, to feel more time and having fun and intentionality for yourself. So it's not disregarding your family, it's actually elevating your family by being more intentional with who you're being. It's providing examples for your daughter, your son, your children to see their mom doing something that's very healthy and supportive and powerful in her life, to see that they can do that for themselves too. It's having respect, it's being vulnerable and creating more intimacy with your husband so it gets to be more loving and powerful and supportive, and your life gets to be your life with intentionality and having more time to do what you want, to live the life that you want. So I hope that this video was supportive for you. You can let me know which points were your favorite ones. We are diving deeper into feeling more empowered as a woman, how to feel more empowered, how to be and live more of the life that you want in the becoming era, which is specifically for moms and wives who are tired of doing everything for everyone for years and are ready to feel more alive in their life, to really start living the life that you want. The doors are open for the becoming era. So you can comment Queen, QUEEN, to join us. We'll send you the information so you can explore all of the options that are within the becoming era. I hope that you all have a beautiful day. Let us know which one of these were your favorites, which ones you're like, oh my gosh, that feels really hard for me to do, which ones that you're like, ooh, okay, this really, I'm gonna practice this. Thank you so much for this. So yeah, let us know. And I hope that this was supportive, and I will see you all next week, 10:30 a.m.